Hi, I'm Ayla. This is Kalpa. Just told us to rotate our device. We are on a coal train on Wonnarua Country, locked on a train line going into the port of Newcastle. I'm going to hand it over to Kalpa for a little acknowledgement of country, and then tell you why we're here.
Yes, we're on absolutely beautiful Wonnarua Country, and we would like to acknowledge the First Nation peoples of this country, elders past and present. We would like to acknowledge that we are on land that was never ceded, and that the fight for recognition of First Nations peoples in this country goes on today. We're here with love in our hearts for everyone in this country. We're all facing an ecological and climate disaster. We're in it now. And the First Nations peoples of this country, and many countries, all countries, have been dealing with the impact of colonisation for many, many generations, and the ecological and climate emergency as a result of colonisation and capitalism. I want to acknowledge all the work and care that First Nations people give to the land and to the heart. And we'll be talking about many things this morning while we're sitting on this train. I'm going to hand it back to Ayla.
Hold on. I guess I'm here. I'm 16. I am really worried about my future, and I'm taking action today because I believe that the system is hurling us towards ecological collapse, and I just am here to resist it. And it's a very beautiful morning here. We've got a very nice sunrise. We have a river below us. We're on a bridge on a coal train, and we're locked on. Here's our lock-on device, if you can see it.
It's a little heavy.
A bit. I'm here because, I'm worried about my future. I'm worried that I'm not going to have a future. I'm not going to be able to have kids. I'm worried that, I'm here because I'm taking the power back for myself, because I'm not able to have a say in our political system, but I don't believe that anyone has a say in our political system, but especially not people whose future we are trying to save. And, I'm here because, I want to have power and say over my future because it is mine. And, you want to tell us why you're here, Papa?
Yeah, well, unlike Ayla, I'm not 16, I'm 64. I live on the far south coast of New South Wales on beautiful Wonnarua Country, and but like Ayla, I'm here because there is actually no future on this planet with the way things are going at the moment. We may, as I was saying before, we may actually be too late, but I'm here because I'm driven to do as much as I can to try and stop governments and industry. So-called Australia, it has contributed so much to the fossil fuel disaster that we're in, and that's actually why we're sitting on a coal train. It's one of the main fossil fuels that's contributing to the rising temperatures we're seeing around the world. And this coal's probably, who knows where it was going to go, but we've stopped it for now. I'm here to tell this country and all countries that we don't have any time. We are minus time, and that we must be doing everything we can to change. It's not just about bringing down the temperatures now. It's actually we're going to have to change the way we live. We've started that. I don't usually climb on coal trains. I'm just an average human being. We have to stop growth. We have to actually degrowth. We need to change the way this country thinks it can operate, which currently is to gaslight into thinking that everything's okay and that we've got the climate emergency under control, while still opening coal mines and gas and soaking up petrol every day and tricking people into thinking that we're safe, and we're not. This government and industry in this country is responsible for ecocide and genocide, and unless there is radical change, and I don't mean within the system, I mean systems change, this is just going to get worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. 100%.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No, I think that this system is very much puts the blame on the individual, and it it reminded me when Kalpa was talking just then. But yeah, it puts the blame on the individual, and then people go, well, my life sucks because I haven't worked hard enough, or climate change is a thing because I don't recycle or I use a car. And while those things are very true, and people not recycling does contribute to climate change, it's not actually majority of the destruction of this continent is done by the big corporations and the government and the system that we live in. The system that we live in tells us to work very hard every day, and if we can if we want to say, we can write a letter to our government, or do it in a very passive way. And they have the new protest laws right now, and it's you can hold a sign on the side of the street when we say you can, on a day that is less disruptive, and on a day that we deem is not going to cause harm. And I'm not saying that I think that any activism is good. I think we have I'm on top here because I don't think that me holding a sign right now is going to do much, because we've been holding signs for generations. And we still have mass amounts of destruction happening on this continent and all over the world. I'm very scared about what my future will look like. I don't want it to look like catastrophic weather events and concrete jungles. I like going outside. I like being in nature. I don't want that to be destroyed, not only for me, but also, we're not the only animals living on this planet. We need to think about everything and all that we do, and how that contributes to, I don't know, doing destruction. And I just think that I'm here today because I'm fed up with having to jump through the loops of the system to get any sort of change. And I just think that this is a powerful way to make political change, and I'm very grateful that I have a community around me to help me do this, because I am privileged to be here. I'm in a white body. I'm a female. I think that those factors are going to make me less of a target, in a sense. I'm not afraid that I'm going to be killed right now, and a lot of people are. And I'm doing it partially because a lot of people can't do these things, whether it's like mentally having setbacks that make you like having a panic attack right now. I feel pretty scared, but I'm also quite calm, and having physical disabilities makes it harder to act and take direct action. And I'm doing it not only for me, not only for my generation, but also for everyone who can't get on a coal train. That's not to say that people shouldn't be acting and doing whatever they can, but you know, I'm here in solidarity with everyone else who's fighting for our future. And yeah, I'm here in solidarity with the land and the water and the trees, because it's something worth saving. I don't know. I'm handing it back to you now.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm just going to show you the train that we're on.
And our banners.
And I don't know if you can see our banner, the train.
Yeah, give it to me.
I'll just go to the tech expert on the team.
The young person. Here we go. There's our banner.
Oh, that's sort of turn around, yeah.
Yeah, here's our river and our nice sunrise that we get to look out upon. And there's the rest of the
There's
train.
the train, a kilometre long of coal
And
we're sitting on
here's Kalpa.
the Singleton Bridge. On a
Yeah.
beautiful winter's morning.
It's a bit cold.
Yeah, so well, that was really interesting listening to you talk about that. It really reminded me a friend that's been saying that part of the his activism is because he wants to be a good ancestor. So, you know, I mentioned before our little bit of an age difference here, and being a good ancestor for me means that I don't want to leave the mess that's happening now, which is only going to get worse and is currently getting worse, for the people that are young and coming up and soon to be born, to deal with. It's our responsibility to deal with it now. And a lot of people I know are hoping that the Australian government and other governments are going to, have either got their head wrapped around this and are doing what they can or are going to fix it. And I'm telling you, they don't. And if they did, they wouldn't be opening more mining. Beetaloo would not have been approved, for example. I have 3 beautiful grandchildren aging from 10 down to 3 months, and I have a village of millions and millions of children all around the world, and as a village member I'm taking my responsibility to push for the kinds of changes that are not within the current systems but are actually the system itself. It's not that the system's broken and that we need to fix it. There's a system that's actually causing the harm that they're saying they are managing to fix. We are in a climate and ecological emergency, and we are taking direct action in an attempt to push, cajole, demand the kind of change that we need to try and prevent this emergency from completely destroying all life on Earth. It's interesting because we are on top of a river. We can see trees, we can see a beautiful sunrise, but there's actually an enormous amount of noise here. We're just opposite a cement factory sort of thing where they're taking trucks out to pour cement. We're really close to really big highways. We can see hundreds of trucks and cars going by right now, lots and lots of cars, people going to work in mining. We're in Singleton. We're in the Hunter Valley, and being here, it's not just symbolic. We're actually physically stopping a coal train at the moment from taking coal to the port of Newcastle. If people have just come in now, the port of Newcastle is actually the largest port in the world, where coal is taken and distributed to burn more fossil fuels, resulting in the temperatures continuing to rise, resulting in continuing weather disasters, climate chaos, and we are going to experience more and more disasters and chaos, both in terms of our physical environment and in terms of death for ecosystems and animals and people, human beings everywhere. So many people have already died in this climate disaster. People have died due to unprecedented fires, unprecedented floods, the kinds of chaotic weather conditions that we've never seen before in many, many countries. The floods in Pakistan, as an example, that killed so many hundreds of people, where people's lives are still devastated, where there's people that are now homeless, and there's so much climate disaster already happening, and I think that's one of the things that why I strongly believe that governments actively engage in gaslighting. It's not that we're going to be in an emergency, we are actually in it, we're living in it. It's a little bit like frogs in water that's starting to heat up, and we're sitting in the saucepan at the bottom, and the powers that be say, everything's okay, we're dealing with it, and people are actually, and ecological systems are already being affected by it and dying. And there'll be increased numbers and increased devastation as this continues.
Yeah. I mean, how can we have a system that works and is fair, that was built on destruction and colonization and death? I think straight from the beginning of colonization, it was just automatically just, this land is for us, this land is for our people, as white, I don't know. Yeah, I think it was just built on taking and not giving back, and I think First Nations people, their culture is the complete opposite. They live off the land, they live with the land. I don't think our system does that very well at all. I don't know. I guess I will read you my poem. I'm out of things to say now. Well, I'm not. I'm just very cold and quite we got up very early this morning to do this. And I'm just like, what am I saying?
I would love to hear your poem. Can you manage it with one hand there?
I think I can.
Okay.
I can unlock if I need to. I'm not going to for a while. But it's not like
that's good that you bought it written down.
I did buy it because I think I would have forgotten it. But
fantastic.
This one.
Have you got enough light?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's all good.
Am I holding this right?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, this one is about, I'm Gen Z. I'm quite young. My poem is about being young and being expected to change the world, and stop climate change when my generation wasn't even born when it started. So yeah. Do you feel scared right now? We've all heard the horrific stories. 150 species go extinct every day. And I was born when the ice caps were already melting. I was brought up in a world fueled by climate chaos, and it was my generation's responsibility to fix it. But when I ask for your help, will you listen, or will you switch on whatever show you're watching next, and then throw me away and call me a dark hole that's too negative? And when I scream as loud as the wind and act as fierce as the fire that filled our lungs with ash when I was 11, will you tell me that I'm ruining my future, or being too loud? Or will you tell me that I'm too young to understand the complexities of this world? And when I act out of fear, out of the understanding that I'm not going to have a future, will you pat me on the back and tell me that more young people need to do the same? And then go back to work your 9 to 5 and trust that someone else will figure it all out as you fail your children again and again, as you enjoy your comfy life that I will never be able to afford? And will you act when your house fills with floodwater, or when the sun is so unbearable that it stings? And will you act when they start mining and burning fossil fuels? And when the world around you starts to crumble and everything starts to decompose, then will you get off your couch, or will you sit by and watch the world break from your television screen? That's that one.
Thank you.
What do you think? You want to speak on that?
That is powerful. I hear your anger, and I hear
I'm angry.
I hear your frustration. What was happening when you were 11? Which fire was it?
Bushfires. That massive bushfire that went across the whole coast. My dad lives in Bateman's Bay. His house almost got burnt down in 2019. I remember, like, I live in the Blue Mountains. There was fires pretty close to us. I remember watching the fire map and just watching the line go across my dad's house and being like, well, fuck, it's gone. Like, that's my childhood home. I guess it's gone. Luckily, one of our neighbours was there and didn't let it get burnt down, but a lot of it did get burnt down. It was right near the Mogo State Forest. They had logged it there for years beforehand. It just went and some houses went with it. That community was pretty, like, I don't know, fucked by the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, you were in Bega when it happened. Like, that's, pretty close. That whole, it was just, like, terrifying. And the fact that I was 11, just, I realized that the other day, and I was like, I was in year 6, or maybe I was 12, but still, I was quite young, and just, like, it's, crazy to me that people think that, I need to change the world because I'm a young person. Like, I've had so many people tell me that, it's my future, so I should be saving it. Or, like, I'm young and I have enough energy to save it, or something like that. Like, it's just, those things, and I'm like, well, why don't you do something as well? Like, why do I have to do it? Why can't you?
But you are doing it.
And I am.
Then? Why are you doing it then?
I'm doing it because I'm scared that no one else is. And I think more people should do something about climate change and about our future. Like, everyone knows someone who's a young person. I'm sure that they love them. I'm sure that you want them to have the best life. I think it's pretty selfish for older people to just be like, well, I've lived my life and it's been pretty great. So, like, I'm going to die soon. It's fine. You've got this. And it's like pretty, just astonishing that people can think like that. And I'm just, I get quite angry at people who don't act and don't do anything when they can. Like, I think it's completely reasonable for some people not to act if they, like, physically can't, mentally can't, financially can't. Like, that's all part of why, like, that's all part of the system that we're living under. Like, you financially can't because you know, you're living under someone who's taking more money than you, and if you haven't had a good education or you've had a pretty like shitty life, then you know you don't get the same opportunities, and I think that's really, you know, not right. And I think a lot of like middle class, upper class people in Australia have worked in like McDonald's when they were a teenager and been like, well, I worked there and I've worked my way up in the world and now I'm like some lawyer or some shit. And it's like, well, okay, but you still have your family to support you. Like, you still have the financial support to do that. And, you know, I think that the people who can act and can't should be acting. If you financially can support a cause, go support it, you know.
You can,
There's a chuffed in the comments.
yeah, Blockade Australia also needs some support. There's some emergency workers over there. Just having a wee look around. If you're watching this, hi. If you'd like to share this, that would be very, 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 very groovy. And then more people can watch it.
And also I think might be, I don't know, I haven't checked, there might be other live streams in Naarm and Brisbane. I'm very proud of those people who took action as well. I think sick. Yeah. Go find those as well. You don't have to keep watching us.
Yeah, we have a variety of channels that we're offering today. I assume.
Hopefully.
Would you mind holding the phone? I need to get warm.
I was gonna give you that thing there.
Thank you. What is it?
There we go. Hello, we're back. Yay! Okay, we're back.
I'll just get some stuff out.
You can have a little look now because it's a bit lighter. Oh my god, that's just beautiful. Wow. Okay. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that view. Who doesn't want that view? That's pretty amazing. There's a few workers down there. We can see them. Here's our coal train. There we go. Look at that. There's our banner on there. Here's Kalpa.
Looking for my gloves. It's freezing.
We are, well, not right now. We've just unlocked for a brief second, but we are locked on the Hunter River. Is it Hunter? Yes, we decided it was Hunter. Hunter River. On what country are we on? Wonnarua. We're on Wonnarua Country. I might turn this light off. You're coming along for the ride. Oops, that's flashing. Okay. Lovely. We're on a coal train. Here's our lock on. I'm still locked on. It's very cold. Very icy winter morning. Hopefully the sun comes out soon. We're here with Blockade Australia. I'm doing this. I'm 16 years old. My name's Ayla. I am doing this because Australia is refusing to act on the climate crisis, and I'm here in resistance to that, to the Australian system. I'm here because I care about my future, and obviously coal is bad. Blocking a coal train, I'll get the facts out in a minute, but we're stopping more than one, I think, and it's got a lot of coal on it. We're stopping a lot of coal. Oh, my fingers are freezing.
There's two lines here.
Two lines.
Coals go in and out.
We're on a coal that was going into the Newcastle coal port.
Would you like one of my gloves?
Yes, please.
I'm going to have this one. You can have the right one.
We are on a train that was going into Newcastle coal port. It's stopped now. We've stopped it. We're on top of it, locking on. Newcastle coal port is the biggest coal port on this continent. It's pretty big. Putting on a glove because it's crazy cold. Got heat warmers as well. This is a bit, bit chaotic in a good way. We were just live and had a whole spiel, and I read a poem that was fun about what we were doing. You could probably watch that back. We might just repeat a few things. Australia is a system that exploits the land, exploits the people living on this continent, is creating mass destruction, hurling us towards ecological collapse. I'm here to stop that. I'm here blocking a coal train. I'm 16 years old. If I can do it, maybe you can too. The system is built in a way that makes it so the individual feels like they are the problem. Like, from my point of view, I think that is the case. A lot of the time, what was I going to say? It puts the blame on the individual. It makes it so we go, oh, my life's shit because I'm not working hard enough, or like, I'm, not, I don't have a good enough job, I don't have a good enough education. The climate crisis is real because, I drive a car that uses petrol, or I use electricity that's not green. And I think that even if you could be 100% eco-friendly, you're still going to have giant corporations still destroying the land, still creating mass destruction. I'm here because I'm afraid that my future is not a bright one. I'm afraid that I'm not going to have kids because I don't want them to grow up in... I don't even know if I'm going to be able to have kids because I don't know how bad this world is going to get. The government is not acting on climate change. If they were acting, they would have done something by now. But they don't, because it's more profitable to destroy the land, because, I think the government, big corporations, care only about money and how to make that money, and, saving the precious ecosystem is just unfathomable because it's not going to make them money. Right now, 150 species are going extinct every day. A human, the system's not only destroying the land, it's also not helping the people living under it. There's 6 houses for every homeless person in this continent right now. That's crazy to me. We could be doing so much, but we're just not, because the system makes it so it's an individual problem. It's your fault. We're not going to live in a community because, it's everyone, that famous saying, it's every man for themselves. I'm here to resist that, to make it so that we live in communities and have a nice future where we can care for the land. And, I know that might not happen. I'm pretty sure that it isn't, but I want to be on the side of history that tried to do something. And yeah, that's why I'm here today. So I'm going to hand it back to Kalpa.
Thanks for that, Ayla.
That was just a thing.
Ayla, who does great tech stuff.
I don't actually know technology that well.
All right, well,
I'm a young person.
We have that in common. Yeah, we're on top of a coal train. We've stopped it. We're locked on.
This is that.
Lock-on device.
It's a bit heavy.
And the coal train, you can see it that way. And you can see it that way if I turn it around.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Am I doing it right?
Let me just turn the camera around. Oh, not that. Okay, hold on. Oh my god, what the hell?
We really are
these gloves
behind this.
I think it's these gloves.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Gloves. Yeah.
There you go. It's
I won't show you
the
the
other
train
way.
and we're on the Hunter River. We're on the Singleton Bridge, and we've climbed up on top of this train, and we're literally sitting on coal. There's our beautiful banner. Australia fueling climate collapse since 1788. Blockade Australia. I love this banner. I helped paint it. And this banner is, while we were painting it, we had a lot of chats about it and what it meant to each of us. Obviously, the date 1788 is the date of the beginning of the colonising by the British Empire of this land. And some people were saying, oh, well, you know, we weren't digging up coal that day, but we were certainly walking on the land, putting up tents, starting to take a stake on how to start using this place for economic growth, to expand the British Empire. And that expansion has resulted in what we now have, which is climate collapse. Yay, well done.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Can you help me turn this around?
Uh-huh.
Have to take your cloth off.
Again. There we go.
Cool. So part of what we can do as individuals is go straight to the heart of the problem, which is the actual systems themselves, government and industry, and the reason that I'm sitting on a coal train is that I am not just being symbolic. I'm actually stopping the heart of industry. I'm causing a bottleneck and pinching it hard. And I'm just one little human being, and here's another little human being,
and little human being,
we're just sitting here pinching hard,
Yep.
and
Clogging the bottlenecks.
blocking the bottlenecks, and
Australia.
Yeah. I think perhaps my brain is frozen as well as my fingers.
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me get my brain into gear. So it's not that the system is broken, that the system is actually the problem. So 1788 is a symbolic date for when a lot of this kicked off on this land. It was happening before that in many other places. The nature of capitalism means that there's an assumption of growth and accumulation and ownership and just an emergency peoples and or tourists. The growth industry is a part of the problem. The industry of acquisition and the industry of the social idea that everyone has to have certain things and get more of those things and get new things and get the latest things is all a part of the system that means that people feel like that they have to keep staying in the existing system and getting accumulating more and more. As human beings, we certainly do need to feel safe and warm and have shelter and food and community and security and love and respect. Some of those things don't actually cost any money, love and respect.
I think Strike Force Guard might be here.
Oh wow.
Or
Yeah, great.
a cop in a non-marked car.
Uh-huh.
Strike Force couldn't guard this
Yeah.
one.
And some more.
And some more.
Yeah.
Look at them go. Wow. Clearly we're making a difference if we have a whole police team searching and trying to make our lives a bit worse for trying to save the future. They care. Sorry, I'm just watching them. You can watch too, I guess. Oh my god, not again. Okay, the glove. Ugh. There we go. Look at them there. Lights, cars, the train, and us, because we've blocked it. Yay! Okay. What are we doing? Oh, by the way, we can't see any of the comments. I don't know if there is some, but they're not showing up, so yeah. But my family doesn't, not all of them know that I'm here. Hi, if they're watching. Hi to all my friends who support me and care about me. I'm very safe. And I've got half a cookie from Kalpa. Very good.
Would you like to eat that cookie?
I
I will
would.
hold the phone.
Um,
But you were saying hi.
Hi. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm on a coal train. This is pretty cool.
Having breakfast.
Having a cookie for breakfast
Well, locked on.
while locked on.
So a
Yeah.
one-handed cookie.
It's still good.
Is it yummy?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Tastes yum.
Mhm.
Well, should we have another short poem break?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'd love to hear one of your poems.
Exciting again. You've already heard some. Come on.
The first time that Ayla read me a poem, I cried.
And this is the same poem.
Oh,
I think.
you want to make me cry?
Let me try again. Okay. If I can think of it. We come together in collaboration, in chaos, in a storm of teen angst, kids in a classroom still drawing on our hands, letting the pen trace our skin. We are wearing suits. Old, worn-out suits. Because we can't afford new ones. We are playing pretend. We are CEOs and big business folk, living at the top of the company, living at the top of our own skyscrapers, living in the clouds. We don't work for capitalism. We work for the people. Us kids have built our own company, made our own connections. We do things you would never think of. We have minds of gold. We have crawled out of burrows. We have learned from time. We see how rapid this change is. We are in rapids, swirling down a river, struggling to breathe. We are the ones that pick up the stuff you leave behind, playing with the trinkets and the rubbish that you forgot about. We are the children, listening to whispers, carried on a breath, on the wind, through the trees that we climb, getting scratched and bruised along the way. We watch the world so intensely so we don't miss anything. Innocence still stuck in our minds, still reading picture books plucked from old bookshelves. We are the kids that dream. We are the kids that imagine. We are the kids to create our own future. Ah, you're crying again.
Oh,
No.
beautiful words.
Speaking of kids, also, I'm taking off school to do this. I think that people can take off a little bit of work to come and join us or come and do something for climate. I think, I'm also taking off work to be here. I have a job, I go to school, but I'm still here to resist that system because, even the school system is not working well. Like, we grow up with it. Our teachers are being overrun. The kids don't have enough, attention on them to be able to learn productively. We don't give children choice to choose about what they want to learn. We like squash their curiosity as soon as they try and do something that the system doesn't like. It starts from when we're born. It goes through generations. We just need to resist that and stop that, because it is destroying all of us. Yeah, I wrote that poem at school, actually. She was pretty cool.
Was it for an assignment?
It was.
Did you get a good mark?
I got to read it out in front of my whole school. That's why I know
Whoa.
it by memory.
It does make me cry. It's very beautiful. Oh, okay. So we are sitting on a coal train in Singleton, on the Singleton Bridge over the Hunter River.
Oh, the sun's rising.
With the sun rising. It's on Wonnarua Country. I'm participating as a part of the network of Blockade Australia, and I'm very proud to be doing this morning here with my friend Ayla. I'm hoping that doing this is a part of a growing way that we can show people how one or two people can create the kind of change and take power in a situation where we feel completely powerless. I could and do recycle and repair and buy secondhand things if I need to buy something. I do those things, but I don't think those things are actually going to stop the world from continuing into ecological and climate collapse. And I think it's a big facade. It's like a greenwashing that people think that they're contributing to changing the climate emergency by doing those things. I'm not saying don't do them, I do them, but they're not going to actually fix the problem. We're just having some more emergency cars there coming over. Because we're sitting on top of a coal train, on top of a Singleton Bridge.
We're singing on the way here, the Who's Got a Padlock and Chain? Who's got a padlock and chain? Looking on tight to that coal train tonight. Who's got a padlock and chain? That one, because we're locked on a coal train. And it's early morning. And they're trying to figure out how to get us down safely. But maybe we don't want to get down because it's stopping the port. And it's pretty powerful. I feel pretty powerful right now. Yeah.
You look pretty powerful right now.
Thanks. You do too. Look at you.
It's hard to concentrate and talk when there's activity happening around. There is a beautiful sun rising on Wonnarua Country, and birds flying by. Hello, birds. There's a pigeon, a crow went by before. Lots of bird song this morning. The water's flowing. There are a few trees around here. There's also a lot of industry around here. We're actually in the heart of coal country. And I'm here for a number of reasons. One of them is to invite anyone else that would like to join us on these actions to contact us, Blockade Australia. There's a website. I had a look at it the other day. It's looking pretty good. There's media contacts and stuff there as well. But I'm also primarily here in protest. I'm participating today in non-violent direct action, and this to me is not just about doing something that sends a message or is symbolic. I'm actually physically stopping coal from getting to the port currently. This train itself is about 1 kilometre long, and it's filled with coal. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's the cement factory, and I'm taking this action today, and I am wanting to take this action to highlight how easy it is to actually do this. I'm not a very fit person, and I'm a little bit courageous, but I'm not like massively courageous. These things are scary to do, and I have gotten a little bit fitter doing this. But what matters to me is that I am participating in any way I can. If you were watching the earlier one of these, Ayla was talking about how that we get told to do things like write a letter if you want to protest.
Hold a sign.
Come and get a form and sign it. And
ask for permission though, because if you don't, then you'll go to jail or get arrested. Apparently, and this is democracy. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
yeah, so as it turns out, over the years I have actually, Ayla, written many letters and emails to politicians and people who actually think they hold the power and currently in power. I've written submissions, lots of submissions. I've actually been to many protests. I've walked down many streets and I've shouted and I've dressed up and I've danced. I've done a lot of things protesting about the lack of action on this climate collapse, disaster, emergency, and I feel like it got me nowhere. I'm not actually doing those things anymore. They're, in my mind, for me, completely ineffective, and they were ineffective because things are getting worse. So clearly that hasn't worked. So for me, I have to take stronger action. The stronger action comes with its own difficulties and worries and fears, but I am compelled to take this stronger action, such as sitting on top of a coal train in the Hunter Valley on the Singleton Bridge and stopping that coal train from going to the port of Newcastle, a massive port that sits actually on the edge of some beautiful wetlands. It's crazy to see all that coal, tons and tons of coal, getting ready to be moved around, having been moved here from the mines, right next to where the most beautiful environments and birds and amphibians and wildlife are living, like literally meters from each other. And for me, that kind of really sums it all up. We can be having those two things right next to each other as if one doesn't affect the other. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I want to pay my respects to the elders past and present of this country. We're on Wonnarua land, and I want to acknowledge that treaty has not happened in this country, that land was never ceded, and that battle continues today, and that battle really is not at all separate from the ecological and climate collapse that we're currently experiencing. It's kind of all part of the same colonising capitalist system that's got us into this situation. It's been going for years and years and years. Like, it's not a new thing. It's not a recent thing. The reason that um, you're seeing and we're seeing so many people taking more and more action is because it's becoming so um, dire in terms of what's happening in terms of climate change. Ayla.
Yes. Back to me. I was just thinking, I got told the other day, I was talking about my politics because I'm very political. People don't always agree with my opinions. I am lucky enough to have a lot of people around me who do and help me turn that into action. But someone I was talking with told me to not get angry and to go into science. And I was like, no. um, I am angry. I'm angry at my elders, a lot of my elders who aren't doing anything, who aren't concerned about my future, about my life. I'm angry at big corporations and the system, and them not realizing, or they do realize, acting like everything's fine, and that anyone who protests or talks about climate change is crazy, and
Why do they act like everything's fine? Why do they do that?
because it makes them money.
Oh,
Because it
yeah.
makes them money.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, that's
obviously.
right.
And the other point to that was, I'm not going to go into science because we already have the science, and no one's listening to it. And if I went into science, I don't even know if I would get to finish my diploma or get to work, because I see it as the climate is getting rapidly worse very quickly, and I don't know if I'd have time to do that. And even if I did, a lot of scientists just go into science. A lot of environmental scientists just go into science about coal mining and about because that's where the jobs are, and end up not doing something that they really care about. But yeah, so in response to that, I'm not going to go into science. I am going to get angry, and I am blocking a coal train.
Woo!
That's my response to that. So yeah, I'm going to eat some cookie. I just got given.
I actually recently did a protest, non-violent direct action protest with a scientist. She was wearing her white science coat, and we glued our hands to the super, what was it called, the future, I forget what it was now. It's where all the future money is being held in Australia for our future, in Collins Street in Melbourne, because they invest about a big percentage of that money in fossil fuels, and the new railway planned in Melbourne. I think it's the third airport.
Yeah.
Future Fund, that's what's called.
All of our scientists are telling us that climate change is real and that we need to act, and act fast, and those are getting, I guess, screamed over by the people wanting to make money, the people in power, the people who benefit from the system that we're living in, not everyday people who are going to be like, who are going to go down with the climate, because everyone is, as the law, well, it's a quote from the Lorax, but also a quote from another famous person, I forget their name before that, but only after the last river is poisoned, the last fish killed, the last tree cut down, then will we realize that we can't eat money. And I thought that was pretty good, because we can't eat money. Money is just a currency. No matter how much money you have, it's not going to make you happy. What makes you happy is having a community and going outside and living a life that is freeing. And, you know, I don't think we can do that in this system because it's holding us back. You know, we have to work, we have to do things, we have to always be achieving for more money and, you know, getting a better life and having a nice house and having a nice, I don't know, good job and having nice food and, you know, being able to afford all these things. And, you know, the prices just keep going up. I don't think I'm going to be able to afford a house in the future. You know, that's just because it's not going to happen. Because the price is too expensive. You know, it's just, and yeah, the government isn't doing much about it. We have the resources to do stuff, but they won't do anything unless it's making the money.
What were you saying before about the number of houses there are for homeless people?
There's 6 houses for every homeless person in Australia.
Yeah.
That's a lot of houses just empty or being used as Airbnbs, or, you know, just, you know, there's so many houses. Like, I guarantee if you look down your street, unless you're sitting in a very big city, even then there's a lot of abandoned houses. But, you know, there's an abandoned house on my street. I know a lot of friends who, you know, have abandoned houses on their street, or empty houses that are being used for Airbnbs, just any of those things. And, you know, the people in power don't actually care about the working class people, because if they did, they would, you know, be doing more to help us and help us be able to live, but they're not. And so I'm resisting it, and I'm, you know, doing it myself, because who else is going to do it for me? You know, they're not stopping coal mining. I'm going to go stop a train, and I did. And I'm on a train with my friend Kalpa, and there's police here now. And we're going to get taken down hopefully in a few hours. It's pretty cold up here, but...
Why hopefully in a few hours?
Well, because let's stop it for as long as possible.
Yeah, let's stop it for as long as possible.
There was I did have a statistic, but it was like, you know, every train you stopped like, I don't know, a certain amount of, might be on this piece of paper, 100 and around 120 million tons. Wait, hold on. Yeah, the Kooragang Island terminals are responsible for a vast majority of exports, around 120 million tons. And at this, like, these lines run 24/7, 365 days a year, all day, every day. They're destroying the earth. They're making a lot of profit. And, you know, yeah, just a bit fucked, to be honest.
So those
I did have facts, but also just because I can't remember them.
Yeah, no, 120 million tons of coal per year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of coal.
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting on a coal train that is a kilometre long. We decided to climb up onto this train in about the middle of not in the middle, but just so that we are sitting over and on the middle of the Singleton Bridge. We did that because we want to stop this train, and we want to stop it for as long as possible. And if you've been following us for a little while, you'll know that we've been here for a little while. This is actually our second.
It's 7:22. We got here at 6. been almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, we would like to stop it for as long as possible. So we purposely came into the middle because it's harder to reach us in terms of getting equipment here
I don't know if you can
to
see
get
that,
us down.
but that's our fall. We're on a bridge along a river.
And we've locked onto a device, which means that they have to not only get us down but deal with this device. We've done that on purpose to delay the starting of the coal train. So our aim is to be here as long as possible.
And stop as much coal as possible. Cost the government as much money as possible because, they can afford it.
Well, it's not because they can afford it just though. It's I mean, I would rather they spent that money on homelessness and people with
I think
chronic illness.
that if by stopping them and causing them as much disruption as possible, as in like losing money, hopefully they, understand that something needs to be done. That's my thought process. I said that a bit weird, but
yeah. No, I absolutely get that. I agree. Absolutely. It's not that we are wanting them to spend money on us, but the reality is if we cause enough disruption, and some of that will be that they'll be having to spend money and resources or whatever it is they have to do, whatever they think they have to do, then that will be disrupting them to the point, I hope, that some really urgent changes are happening. And I don't mean just, let's set up some more recycling stations. Let's set up some more solar schools. Let's set up some more places where we can charge our electric cars. I mean, a really big change to everything about how we go about doing living, so that we actually have the chance of maybe not causing total destruction of everything. We're actually looking at extinction of our species, all species on this planet.
As I said, 150 species are going extinct every day.
Yeah, that's awful to think about in reality, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of hard to comprehend.
It's a very hard thing to comprehend. It's hard to, why? Can it be unwritten, I think.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, I think, sure. I think that it's a very hard thing to comprehend. It's very hard to, look at the way you've grown up and, if you're a privileged person, look at that and be like, wow, I have so much privilege, because, you don't want to accept that, I think that accepting that you are a part of the problem and that you have some responsibility as, speaking as a white person, you have some responsibility to, care and try and right the wrongs of past generations. It's very hard to accept the fact that, we need to be doing something, and it can be quite scary to be like, well, I'm not doing anything, and, I think a lot of people go, I'm not doing anything, maybe that makes me a bad person, maybe that, and that's a scary thought to have, and, we're not here to say that anyone is a bad person for the way they live. We just would like to see it have less effects on our climate, I think.
Yeah. For anyone that might just be joining us, we're part of a network of people who are protesting called Blockade Australia.
And we're part of many actions across this continent. This mobilisation, we've had actions in the port of Brisbane and the port of Melbourne, as well as the port of Newcastle. And I reckon that's pretty cool to have that many people taking actions simultaneously.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we're on the Singleton Bridge over the Hunter River, sitting on a coal train, and we've positioned ourselves on this coal train so that we are making it harder to be taken off. We've got a lock-on device
We've got
that we're locked onto, and we want to be here as long as possible because we're stopping a kilometre long train from taking this coal that's come out of a mine into the port of Newcastle, so that it can't currently be burning. Can't currently be burning. It's currently inert because our two little bums are sitting on it.
What are we gonna do?
The only heating this coal's getting is from my bottom.
Yes. It's not heating very well. It's
very
quite
cold here.
I'm very cold. My feet are frozen.
Yes, we are a little numb, but I am incredibly glad to be here. It feels very empowering to be doing this, and I find it really important to take these kinds of actions as a way to invite other people to join us or similar actions if you're interested in similar things, and also to be disrupting business as usual, to be disrupting industry, to be disrupting the normality of the system, because the system is what's actually causing the problem. The system has caused this ecological and climate collapse.
Not only climate collapse, but also it's hurling us towards a social collapse as well. I reckon.
Yeah.
People aren't able to afford things at the moment. I know a lot of people who can't afford who are struggling to feed their families, who are struggling to, live, and that's not because they aren't, the system wants you to believe that's because they're not working hard enough and they're lazy and, they should go and get an education or go and get a job or get a better job, get a job that pays more money. And I think it's not that easy. I think that, I just think putting the blame on an individual person is not the way that things should be run. People can't afford things because we're destroying the earth. We're unable to grow crops. We're unable to make food, and we're throwing out the food we do have. I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people I know have been dumpster diving and gotten a lot of food for free, and it's still very edible. And people are just it's just this thing of waste and waste and more waste, and this thing isn't good enough, and I need a new shiny thing, and I need a new, people always want the new thing, and that's because the system is designed in a way to make us think that we want a new thing, when in reality we don't. We've got enough stuff. We don't need to be making more.
Yeah. I remember years and years and years ago, I reckon it was probably about 40 years ago, I read a little article about a light globe that the light globe company had deemed as broken because it was still working. It wouldn't run out. I can't remember how many years it had worked for, but they decided that it was faulty because it didn't need replacing. I think I must have been in my early 20s, and I was like, Oh my God.
Let me just go and buy all of those light bulbs.
No, no, the company wanted to develop a light globe that wouldn't last so long because it wasn't making them money because it worked too well. And that pretty well sums up, really, how this economy runs. So
Yeah.
you used to be able to get, like, say you bought a washing machine, it would last, the family's lifetime, but now they're built to not last. They're built with parts in them that can't be replaced, and they're joined to other parts so that you have to replace the whole thing if you can replace something. And that's pretty well how the system is set up. It's set up so that we are forced, to consume and to buy more and more and to throw away and create more and bigger dumps. And it's because it's all set up for companies to make more and more money on the backs of human beings who have to work longer and longer hours to buy the items that either keep breaking or that they feel like they need because everyone else is trying to get them too. These aren't new ideas. These are really, really old ideas. But with the increasing destruction of ecosystems and ecological and human systems of living, these things become even more and more obvious and stark.
But even so, we've had 100-year floods every week. We've had, extreme bushfires. We've had food shortages. All of those things, we as individuals have all felt those things. How do we... There we go. Oh my God. It says rotate your device. Oh, there we go. That's okay. There we go. You can see us both now.
We can't get any closer because we're separated by the device that we're locked onto.
Yeah, we can't.
If we could get closer, we'd be warmer.
No, we've all experienced those things. If you've been living on this continent, you have experienced going to the shop and lettuce being super expensive, or not there at all because people have we're not and yeah. Anyway, we've experienced those things, but the system just keeps on telling us, the government, the powers at be, that I don't know, the people in power just keep on telling us that it's it's once it this is not weird, this is normal, this is don't be worried if you can't get your vegetables from the shops. It's just normal. And it's well, it's not normal because we're destroying the earth, and therefore we can't grow the stuff that we need to grow because of these extreme weather events. And it's not normal.
One of the things that I found really interesting is that we really find that people tend to act seriously about a situation when they have been affected by it. We were both affected by the fires, for instance, the 2019-2020 fires, and that certainly does cause a catalyst in people to realise the seriousness of the climate changes that are happening. And we recently had a pandemic, and we're still having that pandemic. It's called COVID. And every single person on this planet has been affected by that. This pandemic that we're currently in is actually caused by the climate changes. There's predicted to be more and more pandemics as the heating of the planet continues. The interaction of the changes in animal biology and human interactions is something that we all should feel very scared about. And I think it's one of the really interesting things is how much we're all, or there's an attempt to trick us all, and why I call it like a government gaslighting, in that we're all actually in the middle of destruction, but we're being, the messages are, it's okay, we've got this, we'll sort it out, and industry controls the governments. Governments are about being in power, and this system is failing us, and we are literally being destroyed by a system that's telling us we're looking after you, and that's bullshit. And I'm calling out that bullshit. I'm calling out the government as an abuse system that is gaslighting us, and I'm calling that out of a desperate need to protect life.
Sorry. I think something's happening. I keep on feeling a banging.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that. I don't know what's going on. There's police over there. It's a bit scary.
Trying to do something.
Trying to get us down, probably.
We can also stop live streaming anytime that we want.
Hello. I reckon we're fine. I was just telling everyone what's going on. Yes.
They are starting to move in a bit. I'm probably actually going to just put these in my bag at the moment. And also that light over there. Do you mind if I tap that up? Just doing a few technical things here as a part of our live non-violent direct action protest. Keeping ourselves tidy. I've changed my mind about this particular thing. Yeah, I'm just going to put it in here.
Yeah.
You all right with that? Well, that was a consensus decision-making process, everyone.
Yeah. Well.
Have you drunk some water? Can I encourage you to drink some water? Because you told me you like to drink lots of water.
I do. I'm just cold.
Well, the water's not frozen, which is a bit of luck. So it is drinkable, and it's very fresh. Here, let me hold that for you. Let me be your other hand. Okay, I'll take it and do the whole thing if you like. Whoa! Wet coal. So we are on the Singleton Bridge, above the Hunter River, on the edge of the town of Singleton in the Hunter Valley. We are sitting on one of the tubs that has coal.
One of the buckets.
Here, this is coal. Don't be scared of it.
There's some more. Wow.
We are sitting on this coal, on this train that is about 1 kilometre long, and we've stopped this train. Us two human beings.
Yes.
We stopped it, and we've kept it stopped. And we are actually sitting with a lock-on device. We've got one arm each in it, and we're locked onto it. And I'm not unlocking.
Neither am I.
And I'll be here until I am physically removed.
Yeah.
We're blocking a major bottleneck where this train was going to the port of Newcastle, which is the largest exporting coal port on this continent, and possibly in the world, or maybe the second biggest one in the world, or something like that.
I think it's one of the largest ones in the world.
Yeah. So it feels pretty damn cool to be doing this today. Yeah. Certainly feels better than writing a letter.
It does. It feels a bit. It's funny. It feels a bit more direct.
Yeah. But it's not just that we're taking symbolic action. We are literally stopping industry in its tracks. We are literally stopping industry. Two kids from down the road One younger one older one.
One a bit older.
Young at heart.
Younger.
Stop on a train on a, I don't know, what day is it today? On a Thursday.
We lost track of the days. Look at us. Oh, it's been a busy week.
On a cold winter morning in June. Yeah.
A year since the Sydney mobilisation and the raid that I was almost in. Escaped to go back to school, actually. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things that Ayla and I are facing are the increased charges for us taking our democratic right and protesting against the annihilation of all species on this planet. So we're facing really serious, potentially serious charges for being emergency workers. We're being emergency workers and trying to protect animals and waterways and ecosystems and people. We're being people protectors, and we're likely for there to be attempts to punish us for doing that. There were new laws that came into New South Wales against protesting. We're non-violent protesters. We're doing this action out of desperation. I don't actually want to be here. It's cold and it's uncomfortable. It's a little bit scary. It's not going to be a very easy day for either of us. And potentially the legal implications of this could be difficult for both of us. But that's what we're doing anyway, eh?
Well, yeah, I would say that, I did choose to be here today.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, want to be, but I have made a choice to be here. And I'm prepared to face the consequences of being here, even if they are quite grim. I'm prepared to do that because I care about life on Earth, and I care about my future, and I care about the future of all the animals and all the plants, and everything that is trying to live on this planet. I think I don't want this.
I'll have it.
I don't want that. No, I recognize that I've made a choice to be here, and I recognize that I am privileged to be taking this action because others can't. But that doesn't mean it's a fun thing. That doesn't mean that it's something that we go, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Let's just go do that, because we just want to make other people's lives a bit harder. But in reality, it's like out of desperation and out of the fear that things aren't gonna keep living, things aren't gonna keep being okay. And I think that's why we're here. That's why we're not doing an action that is like, that's why we're not just protesting on the side of the highway or writing petitions. It's like, we've done that. People have done that for generations. We've asked nicely. But, I think that the time of asking nicely is over, and we need to start taking political power back, and start working together to create a better future and to, seriously do something about climate change.
Yeah. Want to read us a poem?
I got like maybe one or two more.
Yeah. That
Let's
would be very
do
groovy.
this one. Maybe I'll put my rainbow hat on for this one. It's a very cool hat. My friend found it for me. It's rainbow. I used to have one like this as a kid.
Sorry, you tell me when the camera's right.
Maybe turn it this way. There we go. Rainbow hat is on. Look at that. It's got a bit of coal on it. It's a bit sad.
Black is beautiful, but not coal.
Black is beautiful, not coal. No. Can you hear the earth gasping for air? Can you see her crying? Can you feel her fever? Can you smell her rotting? Are you even listening? Do you even care? As she is gasping, I am screaming. As she is crying, I am drowning. As she has a fever, I am burning. As she is rotting, I'm barely surviving. I will make you listen. I will keep fighting. I can't die knowing that she is dying.
Oh, wow.
Cheeto. Making Kalpa cry again. Yeah. Very good. Very good.
How did you change from the idea of wanting to do something and sitting on top of a coal train?
Well, I think it was, partially being around people who made me feel like I could be powerful and do things to take the power back. But I also think, I've like my mum's pretty political. She's been taking me to activist things all my life. I remember I have this distinct memory like on the south coast when they were logging down there and wearing the owl suit on the side of the road protesting and I was like 10, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but I think it was good. I was dressed as an owl. I grew up in Bateman's Bay. My dad lives there. His house backs onto the Mogo State Forest. There was a lot of logging there too. I have seen people asking, like my mum's been an activist her whole life, so has my dad. They've been like doing that for their whole life, and they're like 50 now. People have been doing it more than that, longer than that, and I don't see real change really happening. I think asking nicely isn't really effective. I think we have asked nicely and gotten a bit fed up, and now they've created new protest laws and made it illegal to ask nicely without their permission. And it's just crazy to me that crazy to me that happens. Also, another point, we've got some movement happening. We've got here, let's show you. I don't know if it is to do with us, but it's there. Yeah. Oh my god, what is going on? Okay.
I don't know what that is.
There we go. We've got the police over there still. I think there's maybe a bit more of them. We've got a few workers. Some people in high vis. Here comes another one. Oh, no, that's just a person with a boat. Never mind. He's just here for some fishing. They're just here for the nice river below us. I think they're being turned around maybe. We've got a truck over here. Looks like they're doing something over here. Don't know if that's to do with us though.
Maybe not.
River.
We're not actually sure how they're going to get us down.
Yeah.
We
They
We
haven't
want to
even
be up
come.
here as long as possible.
They haven't even come and spoken to us yet.
Yeah, that's okay.
So,
They're just doing their thing.
Guess we'll just wait.
We're doing our thing.
They can come over and have a conversation if they want to. Tell them our names. That's about it, though. They can tell us how they're going to get us down.
So an owl suit, huh?
Huh?
An owl suit?
An owl suit. Maybe I'll fly down.
Oh, what was the animal?
An owl.
Yeah, it was an owl.
It was
I love owls.
You know, the endangered owl that lives on the south coast.
The powerful owl?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, I love owls.
Yeah, but I have distinct memory of putting that on and standing there and getting a bit heckled at, really. Like, there was a few cars that drove past and went, "Oh, what are you doing?" Or a few of them went, "Yeah, good job." But, you know, it's quite an experience. I was like, I don't know, around the 10 age mark, maybe 9, 8. I don't really remember. I just remember being in the owl suit and feeling pretty cool. Being like, wow, this is pretty good. And then we walked into the forest and got shown where the logging happened a bit. And, it's quite sad.
Was that forest burnt when your dad's house all burnt down?
I can't remember exactly which forest it was, but, you know, I think a lot of them got burnt down.
Yeah.
Pretty much every one along the south coast
Yeah.
got pretty burnt, even if it just got a bit singed. But the one out. Yeah, I remember going to my dad's house right after the fires had happened, and it was just like really horrible. And still now they're like not quite grown back. Like, you know, the trees are trying, but they haven't fully grown back. And you know, there's that whole thing of like, because they've logged it and then it's been burnt, all the trees are competing for sunlight, all the new trees, and so you don't have that extra protected level of the canopies of the forest. You've just got like a bare landscape, pretty much.
Yeah.
That makes it very hard for all the trees to grow, and then they end up being really, really tall and skinny and not big, and you know. It's quite sad.
Yeah, the natural ecosystems are not doing the normal things.
Yeah, I learnt a bit about it because I went to Tassie over the summer and, you know, went to saw the Tarkine a bit, and
oh wow,
it was pretty cool. But also learnt that, like, you know, when they do the logging and there's like the clear fell, I think that might be my problem.
Yeah, I thought it might be too.
I've got type 1 diabetes, everyone, just to let you know.
I was thinking, is that a bird or is that your little
That's
device?
my device. A bird did sound like that before.
That's what I was wondering.
How's the power on that? Where is it? Jesus Christ. Oh, it's on the coal.
It's on the coal. It's sitting on the coal. We'll put it back in your pocket.
I better check my levels. Anyway, quick break, maybe.
Okay.
Half I can talk a bit.
Well, Ayla takes care of her health requirements. Yeah, we were talking, you were telling us about your trip to Tasmania, which I'd love to come back to.
Yes.
But you were also talking about the forests and how they are affected by the fires, which also came through where I live, the 2019-2020 unprecedented fires, the Black Summer. We evacuated 6 times, me and my partner. And the first evacuation was the day before New Year's Eve, and we had our daughter, and she had some of her friends and her partner visiting in preparation for us spending a lovely New Year's Eve together. But we all evacuated. That was the first of more. We ended up staying at the Bega the Bega Showgrounds. That was the official evacuation centre. I'm putting up a tent there. It was really scary, and we were told that the fires were going through our house. We had 3 different fire fronts, and yeah, it was only because on a number of occasions that the wind changed direction that our house didn't burn down a number of times. And we are now, it's 80% sure that we're heading into an El Nino, which means that the wet weather we've been having for a few years, and La Nina, has finished for now, and we're going into a dry period. So these are the conditions that will be set up for more devastating and damn scary fires. The La Nina meant that there was a lot of growth, and the El Nino means that there's going to be very lower amounts of rain and hotter weather. So a perfect storm, meaning that we are moving into very high risk fire times ahead. In this country we used to have what was called fire seasons, but we are becoming more and more at risk of fire at any time. There was another fire, there was the Tathra fire that a lot of people will remember in 2018, but there was another fire before that in 2016 up near our place, the Yankees Gap fire, that was also unprecedented, as was the Tathra fire, in that that fire happened in winter, and it happened about an hour from where it was snowing. It was a cold winter's day, but nevertheless very dry conditions, and high winds, and I remember that day. I could see the flames, and the winds were huge, and there was a warmth in them which was very weird because it was also freezing. And some people near us, some neighbours, lost their houses in the little town we lived in. And from the 2019-2020 fires, there are still people who don't have housing. Something happening down there, we're not sure what it is. And Ayla, how is your health right now?
My health is good.
Good.
I just checked my levels.
Excellent. Would
My
you
blood
like
levels are
Yeah.
8.2. Very good.
Is that good?
Well, it's pretty good,
Cool.
which is nice. Yeah, I was saying the taka, and they, like, I think this is only in Tassie, and I'm very happy. I love that we're talking about trees. I love trees. But it's pretty cool that they have stopped logging in Victoria now. I don't know. I just saw that on the news.
It's
but
stopping at 2024.
in 2024, of course. Not right now. They need more money right now.
There's very little logging happening because of all the
That's
court
good.
cases going on, but there is still pockets of logging, but not very much.
Yeah, I just read a headline. I didn't really get to read into that, which was nice to hear about it. But
Yeah.
in Tassie, they cut down the trees and then put chemicals on top of the dead trees to make sure there's no growth back.
What?
Yeah, apparently. I think, there was like a documentary made a couple years ago, 3 years ago, that was saying that.
Far out.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
And then they plant the trees that they want to plant, and anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's
They're
like,
taking down native trees to put in plantation trees? Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
kind of. I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm very tired.
Yeah, fair enough.
I might have a break
Right.
a little bit.
Should we sign off?
Maybe we'll sign off right now.
Because there is a lot of more and more cars and workers here, and cops, and we don't know what's going to happen.
Maybe we'll sign back on when the cops are
Maybe.
here.
Anyway,
So you can see the action.
thanks for listening and supporting us, and we encourage you to support Blockade Australia in any way you can, including the Go Fund.
The chuffed in the comments, and also to anyone out there, it's a bit of a you all lost the game. Anyway, bye.